What's up? My name is Kamal, and today I'm going to be removing the OEM fenders on our 2007 FJ Cruiser. I saw an image of an FJ Cruiser that had them removed and I thought it looked really cool, so we're kind of going through a whole refresh of ours right now with changing all the vinyl wrap because it's just old and cracking. So we're using this blue wrap, and I think it'll be easier also removing this wrap and putting the new one on with these off. But like I said, it's just to kind of change the look, give it a new feel. I know that a lot of people, when removing this, it's to put on like over fenders, which also looks cool, but I kind of prefer that look on cars that are lowered, where those fenders actually tuck over the edge of the tire. So we'll see how this looks with the fenders off. If it really looks out of place, then I can just put them back on, but just wanted to do something different, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And it looks like to remove these, there's just a bunch of 10mm screws. Looks like there might be just like some little push clips as well, but mainly 10mm, and we'll see how easily these pop off. I don't really know if there's anything behind the bumper, so it's possible we might have to remove the rear bumper or the front bumper a little bit, maybe even just remove it enough to pull it back. So we'll see. So as far as removing this fender, got the most of it loose. There's just was one 10mm kind of hidden down there, and I had to use a wrench like this instead of my socket with it because just a little bit of tight. And then there was just some more back here and underneath as well. But the problem is this looks like it's has something going on under the bumper. Underneath here, I'll show you. There were just a couple right there, one back here, and there's one here for the bumper. Not too much more to go. And if you just tug on this, these clips up here pop off, and that's actually enough to get the fender off. Looks like there's this one 10mm here. Under there, there's another 10mm for the mud flap, and then the very bottom here, there's one more 10mm in here that should get the fender off, as well as this one little clip in here that we'll have to pop out. But that should be enough to get this off. So almost done with this one. Then I'm gonna get the one on the other side, and then we'll move to the front fenders. So just working on getting the front fenders off now. It's not terribly bad, just 10mm under here and some just plastic clips as well like that. And then there's a couple under here and there. And then actually one right under there for getting the mud flap section off. So the thing about this is the rear, this piece was separate from the fender that runs along the side here. But then this piece right here is actually connected to the fender. And then the front section here, I have the front bumper off because this front part of the fender goes behind this piece. So on this side, I already took it off. What I did was I actually cut this part right here so I could leave this part on, so it just has that flow with the car. Because if this is off, you just have the body color, and I mean, it would be okay, but I figured I'd just cut it right there and leave this section on. And then you still have this fender liner part, so I'm actually thinking I might just put the bolts and the little tabs back in here, because this can kind of get a little flappy if I don't, and I'd rather keep this in here. I don't know what's underneath that, but on this side, like you can see, the fender just kind of tucks in behind there with that section right there. So you just have two tins. I was able to just, this, believe it or not, this was actually missing this 10mm on this side. So yeah, to get that front bumper off, I did remove that front face piece again because there's 3 clips that go here. And then there's just some tins along the bottom. So I'm gonna get this side off now. Just have to take this off, get that loose, and then just cut along this seam right here. So I just wanted to point out how this part of the fender liner in here just kind of sticks out. So on this side, instead of cutting it, I actually just folded it and tucked it in behind this part. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I just have just a normal razor blade, and I just pushed it in, and that's how I cut this section off of the back here. Now, if anyone else out there doing this doesn't want to have to deal with taking off the whole front bumper and removing this section to get this little front part out right here. I guess you could do the same thing with the razor blade and just cut this part off as well. That piece would just still be in here, so that would make it a little bit easier, but I was just already taking the front bumper off, so I went ahead and did it the right way, I guess. And also, by doing that, I was able to see that this side just had the screw missing, so I can figure something out with this, because the bumper has these little like tabs that are supposed to go in here, and I noticed that the one on this side was actually above where it's supposed to slot in, so I can also take care of that as well. Another thing I was gonna try to figure out today is the license plate. We have this, I guess, bumper mounted. Well, it's mounted to the crash bar. But yeah, this LED bar, it's pretty nice for, I kind of use it as a substitute for just turning on the high beams. So you definitely don't want this on because it blinds oncoming traffic. But as you can see, like I said in the previous video, this car was in North Carolina, and in North Carolina, you don't need a front license plate. But now that my dad's has this vehicle back in Virginia, I have to put a front license plate on. But as you can see, it just blocks a good bit of the light bar. So I kind of just wanted to figure out a way to maybe mount this somewhere else. I actually just thought maybe trying to mount it on the bottom screws so it's shifted up. The only problem with that is it might just be sticking up a little out here. So we'll see how that looks. But yeah, we're gonna clean the rest of this and start putting that new vinyl wrap on here. So back when we painted all these parts, I just used a silver and black Sharpie to make this camo on the Toyota symbol in the front. Some of it just kind of got faded, so Miranda's just touching it up right now.
Yeah.
Alright, so I just finished getting everything back together. As far as the license plate, basically just took it out, put the screws on the bottom, and it shows the whole light bar now. Sure, it sticks up a little bit, but it's pretty centered right there, as you can see, between the Toyota and the light bar. I did think about just drilling it down here, but thing about it is where these actually go in, it's not actually just going in straight into the bumper. There's actually plastic bits on the backside built into the bumper. So this is really where the license plate screws are supposed to go. So we'll drive it around like this and see how it works. I don't know if we'll hear it moving at all. I mean, it's pretty solidly mounted, so I think it should be good. The other thing is, back when we did this original camo wrap, like I showed y'all, that wrap was a darker blue at first and lightened up. So at the time I got a blue and painted all these little bits on the bumper, the door handles, mirrors, same thing up here, this front piece and this piece. But I didn't do a great job, but it still looks all right. I did clean these up, so they look a lot better. And the other thing we kind of noticed was after we had all this back together, it kind of goes, because this is actually the same paint. I don't know how it ended up different, but it kind of goes from a darker blue to a little bit lighter blue to the lightest blue. So that kind of worked out in a way without even trying to make it work out. And then as far as the fenders, just tidied up this side, put a new clip in here so I could snap this in place, folded this bit in like I showed before, put all the screws back in the plastic tabs just so this doesn't move around. And like I mentioned earlier, how you could maybe cut here too if you didn't want to take the front bumper off. There is, you know, this little space here. So if you did cut it there, I guess you'd have a little plastic piece here that would cover this. So maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea and save you a lot of time with not having to take the front bumper off. But as far as the way it looks, I think it looks pretty cool. I'm sure my dad will watch this, so I'll see what he thinks about it. The one thing I didn't really think about is it actually makes the vehicle look like it's lifted a little higher than it is by doing this. So I'll get some shots with it out of the garage a little later. It's dark now, but I'll do that tomorrow because I'll have some time. The only thing I wanted to talk about is this is what I used to cut that part of the fender. So the only thing is if you're gonna do the same thing, you know, obviously just be really careful. I've cut myself really bad with one of these before and it sucks. So if you're gonna do it that way, just be super careful. The other thing you could do is get like an industrial box opener that actually has a whole handle and kind of has the triangle blade that slides out. Something kind of like this, but a lot larger. That might be a little easier and safer than using something like this or just a bare razor blade. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out and we appreciate it. Pretty happy with how this wrap came out. Looks pretty good. Sometimes you can get little wrinkles along the corners, but which we did when we had this one on there. But this time around we were able to get this on pretty nice and smooth with no errors, no mistakes, which is pretty cool. I'll show you guys some clips of this outside as well. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.